Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. We're jumping back to 1984 to watch the original The Karate Kid, directed by John G. Avildsen. We then have our newly released, now in theaters, Karate Kid Legends, directed by Jonathan Entwistle. And finally, Bring Her Back, directed by the Filippo brothers. So that's Danny and Michael Filippo. All right, let's get Vincent Daly in the room here, hear what he has to say. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Vincent Daly, how are we doing over there, my friend?
Tommy boy, how's it going?
It's going okay on this side of the table. How were your movies? The 3 movies this week?
I honestly really enjoyed this week for whatever reason. I did. I did not. I didn't think I was going to like the Karate Kids at all. Kind of actually loved them.
Wow. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Wow.
Yeah. And then, just more so than anything, talk about a big difference between go doing the Karate Kids and then Bring Her Back. I mean, that was an actually scary movie.
Yeah, that's quite different things you got going on there.
Yeah. So not the best pairing, but it's been a time crunch to fit in the movies. So glad we at least have the 3 to talk about, and excited to talk about these. So.
Any opening notes for this week, V?
Well, I'll save most of my thoughts for the Karate Kid reviews themselves, but the elephant in the room, I just simply did not have the time, energy, or interest in covering 6 Karate Kid movies, no less brushing up on, I think, 7 seasons of the TV show.
Oh, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai went for 7 seasons?
I think it's still going. I think it's 6 and maybe 7th is announced or something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, just a lot that it was time, energy, but also interest. I don't know. Yeah, I had that much skin in the game.
It's too much. We don't have that much skin in the game because it is Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Then they recast it and they bring a girl in with Mr. Miyagi, correct?
Yep. Hilary Swank.
That's
her first role, with the next Karate Kid, I believe it's called.
And that comes out in 94.
Yep.
So that's 4, and then do they do another one with Swank?
No. That ends because that was also panned universally.
Yeah.
2010, we get the Jaden Smith, Jackie Chan one.
2011, yeah.
And then in between is Cobra Kai. I mean, I feel like there's a single reason why this movie is around. It's because of Cobra Kai's success.
Yeah.
So. It was just a lot there.
It's too much. Well, it's too much what it is.
I think in hindsight, I probably would have had fun if I reviewed all of them.
You would have been burnt out. You would have been so burnt out.
Yeah, maybe burnt out. Maybe it all would have suffered.
That would have been like you at the end of the Godzilla special. Just absolutely drained.
Broke a sweat. I don't know. I guess this feeling comes from the fact that Karate Kid 1, I had an appreciation for. Even the new one, I had a little bit of an appreciation for.
Okay.
Maybe love's a hard word.
Well, I'm just happy you enjoyed yourself. Sounds like you like this already better than Tom Cruise last week. Okay, so let's jump back to 1984, The Karate Kid. And I watched this one as well, so I'm excited to kind of go back and forth with it with you.
Sure.
You want to just set it up and we'll just start?
Yeah. Well, like the few classic gems of the 80s, I've never really seen any of the Karate Kids, and I don't really have any nostalgia for the series. A fact that left me scratching my head when everyone was freaking out over Cobra Kai a handful of years back. Maybe I would have been in better shape if I was into the series growing up, but we'll have to... We'll kind of leave that one for the birds. Folks, watching this movie, you can really feel the lesson of right time, right place, palpably, as it crane kicks you in the face. Just when you're trying to stop your nose from bleeding, you're suddenly deafened by a soundtrack that makes you wonder, is this even real music at all? This is like some ridiculous music in here.
I mean, we are in the 80s for sure.
Yeah.
It lets you know immediately.
Yeah. It really does. I can't say I expected much checking out this movie, but I am sure as hell glad we covered it because I can clearly see how much of a trendsetter it really was. And I'll end in kind of where this was. I felt good to get on the site in some capacity. The Karate Kid is a martial arts coming-of-age story that capitalizes on the kung fu films of the decade prior, putting the many Gen X teens in the butt-kicking shoes that started the whole franchise. Moving from Jersey to L.A., also talk about this shot of Newark, New Jersey. Boy, oh
What?
boy. I mean, wow, Newark's looking rough. Ralph Macchio and his single mom are trying to settle into their new lives in sunny California. Like any kid thrown into a new school, he struggles to fight off the bullies, especially protecting his new crush Allie from her tough guy ex-boyfriend. While getting jumped after the school dance, he's helped by Mr. Miyagi, a humble local man that has much to offer Macchio if he has the patience to listen to his unconventional wisdom. In order to stop these constant beatings, he challenges his rival to a match at the upcoming martial arts tournament where Miyagi has promised to train him to become the best around. It's weird what I thought would be easy wins for this, and even weirder what I ended up enjoying and not enjoying about this movie. I just like a total opposite.
What wins did you think this was going to have?
I think the wins are Macchio and Elizabeth Shue. I actually kind of like the cutesy, teenage romance.
Wow,
to
okay.
this. The things that I thought were bad, I guess I should have expected. I just didn't expect them. And starting with the bad, we get a big old bloated 80s soundtrack on this one.
It's thick.
It's thick. It feels commercial. Apparently, there was records breaking for CD sales when all 3 movies were finished. It was like a collection set or something like that really broke records.
I bet.
Seeing Bill Conti was a name that I was kind of excited to see. He did the Rocky music, which was something that was part of the initial pitch for this. This was initially pitched as like, hey, you see what Rocky's doing successfully? Let's make a kid version of this.
Like Kid Rocky.
Yeah.
It is kind of Kid Rocky.
Absolutely. And a fact that I'll come back to for the new movie, actually. For better or worse, did we get a Bill Conti soundtrack? Yeah, we really did. The iconic track, You're the Best, or You're the Best Around, was actually made for the Rocky franchise. This is a whole rabbit hole I went down.
This is good, because I didn't know any of this.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a beyond meme-worthy song. It was in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
Just countless stuff.
Everybody knows the song.
Yeah. The fight montage that this song is in alone is already like, whoa, this is like nauseating levels of 80s. It's unreal. You're the Best was going to be the title track, I think, in Rocky 3, I want to say, until Eye of the Tiger came along. Eye of the Tiger supplanted it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this was just laying on the floor.
Crazy, right?
It totally works.
And they work in both, like swap them back and forth.
Yeah, totally.
Probably the whole scene works.
I have all new level of appreciation knowing that this is Kid Rocky.
Yes.
I mean, I could have put that together myself, but
that was the pitch, and like people like Bill Conti, a part of the actual production. They were definitely very intentional about how they were crafting this together. My issue, though, is not with the song or, again, that very 80s karate montage that will be honestly burnt into history. It's certainly burnt into my mind. It's largely everything else in the soundtrack. Everything else in this soundtrack was just like, oof.
It was 80. I mean,
it was, yeah.
I don't know what you were
constant. It was just so bad. Like, I just was not about it at all.
Yeah. I feel like if you grew up with it, it's probably very nostalgic and you love it.
Sure.
Everyone else who didn't have that 80s kid life,
yep,
it's just not for you.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't for us. We were 10 years too late to this.
Yeah, for sure. And not into karate.
Right.
Maybe I took one
Well, very
taekwondo class at some point in my life or something like that.
Right.
But I would say a bit more central to the concept itself, Karate Kid, is the martial arts, which is frustratingly not great, even by early 80s standards. This, sadly, mostly falls on our lead, Ralph Macchio, towards the finale, just not having the goods once he starts fighting in the ring. I mean, this guy looks like a corpse sometimes. He's real scrawny. Throughout the whole movie, I think the mix of adult actors pretending to be kid actors, you see it all over the high school campus on this, which is whatever. It's, it's fine. And then genuine kid actors in kind of similar fight scenes to it. It just creates a disconnect in every fight scene. And again, the one specifically Macchio is in, unfortunately, I mean, this is where I was saying, I'm interested in the later parts of the series a tiny bit. I'm interested once Jackie Chan gets involved, how that changes the fight choreography. Does it become a little bit silly? Does it become a little bit funner? And I'm definitely interested in the original trilogy of just like, does Macchio have the skills to pay the bills eventually,
Well, sure. I don't think any of the martial arts was all that good in this. There were a couple quick kicks. The one kid was really good at it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I wasn't expecting much.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting like a John Wick level, something that actually blow my pants off. Because we're dealing with kids.
Sure.
I was a little surprised. I wasn't too impressed with Mr. Miyagi, actually. I mean, he really only puts the moves down once.
Right.
And I'm just like, a little slow there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, and that's something I bet, Jackie Chan really brings something to the table.
Yes.
To this franchise, because he's got the quickness. He's got the skills, even at his age.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that was kind of bugging you.
Well, and
I think from the get-go, I just wasn't taking it serious.
you bring up a good point. I'm not expecting like a John Wick or, a high caliber of action choreography. But even by 80s standards, I think, that one Miyagi fight is a perfect example of just like, this is not really connecting the punches at all. I feel like by 80s standards, this was even falling a little short.
Yeah.
Even by like 70s Bruce Lee standards, falling just a tiny bit short. So
there's only I didn't do a deep dive into this film at all, except for just like going through people's ages. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Sure.
Do you know? So Ralph Macchio, because they're in high school, like old junior, senior year high school is what I'm picking up on.
Yeah.
Because everyone's starting to get their licenses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
When the movie first started, I was like, is Ralph Macchio 12, 14, or 18?
That's what I mean. He's so scrawny.
So I couldn't pick it up. Do you know how old? I couldn't believe it. Do you know when he was born or how old Macchio was?
No, I did not look that up.
He was 23 years old.
Damn.
He could have passed as 12.
He's one of the adults acting as a kid then.
Well, I'll tell you what. He got married 3 years after this came out. I couldn't believe it because you watch him and he is super scrawny, which makes sense because today I'm looking at him just he literally looks 10 years younger than what he actually is.
I mean, good
He's
genes
like a Brad
in that
Pitt,
sense.
Paul Rudd. Great genes.
Yeah, but
Scrawny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, it comes out, I mean, if anything, in the You're the Best Around montage, it just, the matchups, that montage is doing all the work. There's really no, phonetic energy to these fights,
okay,
it's all in the edit.
This goes to another bugaboo I had with the movie. By the way, I enjoyed myself. It was fine. I actually liked it better than I thought. When I sat down and turned it on,
That's
I was
exactly where I was
I'm
at.
not in the mood to watch this.
Yep.
And Macchio had me.
Yeah.
Overall.
Absolutely.
Mr. Miyagi was good. But to your point with that, as far as just like fight choreography and how the action was on set or on screen, none of it, even the training was weak. Mr. Miyagi, I think my deep cut is Mr. Miyagi's kind of an absolute shit teacher.
He's kind of a champ.
Hasn't done anything to actually teach his kid any kind of martial arts. Gives him booze at one point. I mean, you come home. Nothing like coming home and you having your adult figure that you look up to is wasted and just like falling asleep. The wax on, wax off, catch the thing with your chopsticks, whatever, stand on top of the boat. And I'm like, never is there actually like a decent form going on here.
Yeah, he's just on his own. He's just fed to the wolves. It's also another thing, which was like, why did the mom's pretty protective over Ralph Macchio for this entire thing. It's his birthday in one of the scenes. Where's the mother?
She baked. Well, he had to go.
Right.
He was like, "Oh, I gotta go. My mom made me a special cake."
Never follows up with her.
I think
immediately goes to see his crush.
I kind of like her. I think there's some type of Macchio, whatever her name is, the mom. I almost get a kid like Goodfellas or something like that. The Newark family,
sure,
trying to plant a flag in California.
You look like a gangster.
Right.
But yeah, I think on that note, I can transition into some of the good and save your angry comments, MTV generation, because unexpectedly, I actually really enjoyed everything else, the kid acting especially. As far as kid stars go, I was completely won over by Machio. He's scrawny, yeah, but he's got some charisma.
Yeah.
And I think in most scenes, he's the best part of the movie. I could be off base with this.
Asterisks on kid acting, but yeah. I mean, at this point, the man was 23.
Yeah. Drinking age acting.
Elder statesman, 23 years old.
Elder statesman.
He won me over too, though.
Yeah, there was something there. I could be totally off base with this, but I think why he worked was because he's not really acting at all. For me, the performance was good because it felt real.
Yeah.
And was just clearly Ralph's own personality coming through on the screen. You get this a lot with very successful kid stars, Machio being a star throughout the 80s. He does struggle to keep the momentum in his career for the years after this franchise, and I can really only guess that the exact reason he felt natural here is the same thing that could maybe make a growing actor feel one note or stumble later on in like further roles. Do you just see the Karate Kid, or do you see someone else?
Well, those first three Karate Kids came out within 5 years of each other, I want to say.
I think it's 86 then 89.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that really becomes your identity.
Yes. A la, Harry Potter kids, you become a little bit one note with it. So despite the success.
He did feel comfortable in the role, though. Like, you could tell, he seemed to be having a good time with it, and he did seem very natural.
Absolutely.
It was believable, for sure.
Yeah. There was. I just feel like it's just his own personality, and that's why it works so well.
Yeah.
I thought his progressing meet cute with Allie was just a super cute romance as well. She's played by Elizabeth Shue, like I said just a moment ago. And Elizabeth Shue gets her own really career kind of kicked off as an iconic face of the decade. From this, she goes on to Adventures in Babysitting. She's in 2 of the Back to the Future movies, I think 2 and 3.
Okay.
Really just as much of a standout. I feel like for some reason, this worked for me because of the cute little romance between these two. And just feeling natural, fun, it was good. Obviously, Elizabeth Shue goes on to do a lot more, not to mention the doozy film that is Leaving Las Vegas. Have you ever seen Leaving Las Vegas, Tom?
I don't think I have. I?
That's the one with no, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
This is the one where Nick Cage is like the
no, just clips.
Crazy alcoholic. Yeah,
just clips.
We might have to fit that one in.
Yeah,
that I got a weird desire to watch Leaving Las Vegas.
Well, I think that there's a pre-2000 Cage special in there somewhere for us to do.
True.
You know?
Best of the best before he starts Owen Dino Dead.
Best of the best, worst of the worst, almost.
Yeah.
But just the Nick Cage-esque. I don't know. There's something there.
Yeah, Leaving Las Vegas, that is a crazy, crazy movie, though. Folks, what I'll end with is that both like and unlike the John Hughes movies we've checked out on the podcast, this might not fit into the high school party formula we've talked a lot about when we're covering those movies. But its new high school, new environment, coming-of-age setup is, I would say, just as fundamental as a movie as a whole. This really had a trendsetter element in the ways that reminded me when we covered those John Hughes movies. I kid you not, you're watching this movie, you feel maybe every single Disney Channel movie to ever exist. Like, the skeleton is so perfectly there. If anything, cut 30 minutes off of it and just like, that's really like every Disney Channel movie like that's ever been made. And hey, that may not make me want to check out 6 other movies just like it, but like I said, I'm still glad that we checked this one out and we got it on the website. We're going to go ahead and give The Karate Kid 1984 a 64.
Okay. A 64%. Okay, so relatively enjoyable, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, I'll take back Love. Love was
for what it is, you
word.
enjoyed yourself.
Yeah. I'm
willing to bet too. I'm not thinking of anything in particular, but I would say probably pre-2000, pre-9/11 kids movies were probably just better because they could be a little bit more edgier. There's blood in this scene.
Sure.
Got a big black guy.
Yep.
I just don't know if they're taking that kind of risk these days with their kids movies.
They're really not.
I think we should watch Elijah Wood and Free Willy soon. Wait, no, Flipper. He's a Flipper kid. That's right.
Yeah, he's
Elijah Wood was Flipper. Well, the Free Willy we could too.
I really didn't know that. Elijah Wood is in Flipper.
Flipper, yeah, dude.
Wow. Wasn't a big aquatic kid growing up. You get some insight into me. Never watched Free Willy, never watched Flipper.
Really?
Watched Flubber.
Well, Flubber's classic. I don't know how we haven't covered that in the podcast yet. Yeah, wait for my birthday next year. Okay, so let's just jump right into 2025, A Karate Kid: Legends.
Yeah.
What is the name of Jackie Chan.
Mr. Han.
Mr. Han.
Also very confusing. Initially, I thought that 2010-2011 remake was like just a full remake on its own little island.
He was Mr. Han back then.
Yeah, Mr. Han back then, and also that's technically like a continuing element of the story. That's a full sequel. So
we're in the same world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
it's one world.
It's how it should be.
Yeah, true.
But Jackie's not in the show, is he?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because the character is in Beijing at the start of this. Presumably that's where he leaves off in 2010, 2011.
So the Cobra Kai dojo kind of head guy who's a psychopath.
Yeah, you're right.
In the
a lot
first
of
Karate
psychos
Kid,
in Cobra Kai.
He's in all seasons of
Really?
the show.
Wow.
He's got to be pretty old, you would think.
I think so. Wait, you mean like the
coach, the guy?
Yeah, absolutely. The sensei.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry.
Watch 2 Karate Kid movies, don't know sensei. No, I'm with you. And obviously, the main blonde guy, the ex-boyfriend, it's probably.
Oh, yeah, he's in it. Yeah. He's definitely,
So.
Okay, so Karate Kid, Legends, set it up again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would, I'm buying the kid. To me, that's the skin in the game to continue on with the franchise. Mm-hmm. So set up the storyline. How are we continuing the story? And how'd you like it?
Yeah, well, like we opened the episode with, this is a huge series that, I didn't have time to tackle this week. Nonetheless, let's go through some of the installments like we did, just for it's kind of sectioned in this review itself. In 1984 through 89, we get the original 3 Karate Kid movies. That's Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. I didn't have a huge amount to say about Miyagi himself, but if the first movie is an indicator, I do like that there are occasionally some woven in serious notes to his backstory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
I think needed, too.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Pat Morita. Apparently, he was primarily a comedic actor before this, so this was like, this is a big turnaround for his career.
Okay.
Even though they are ultimately just kids' movies, but something kind of interesting there. Jump forward to 1994, we get The Next Karate Kid. Yes, that's the name. That's a crap name. Attempting a female rework, and like we said, starring Hilary Swank as her first major leading role. Sadly, an entry that is almost universally hated, so go figure, it feels just like present-day backlash to it, and put the series under the dirt.
On ice.
Yeah, on ice. We have to wait until 2010 for the series to come back with, once again, The Karate Kid, introducing Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. Something I thought, again, was a remake, but turns out to be yet another sequel in the continuing story.
It's weird because it's the same name.
Exactly.
It should have been Karate Kid. Like, take the out at least.
Sure. Absolutely. I guess my really only desire to cover this was to more so kind of further shit on Will Smith's failure to make his kids into megastars in the early 2010s. Too harsh?
No, it's fine.
But we covered After Earth.
Moody Smith. Jaden is very moody.
Yeah.
He's a moody boy.
During this time, in like Pursuit of Happiness, After Earth, Karate Kid, all is, Smith...
Little Mike? Right? Wasn't he in Little Mike?
Maybe. No, I think you're
The basketball movie?
No, I think that's before Jaden's time.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of Little Bow Wow. Which I'm embarrassed for even relatively knowing that. I was searching my mind palace for Little Bow Wow. But if you look on all these movies, is a little bit of a rabbit hole. If you look on all those movies, Will Smith and Jada Smith, all in the producer credits of those. They were really just like, those movies have a funk about them because they're just like, you can feel that they're just really trying to push these kid stars, or making them into megastars.
Yeah.
Both Jaden and his sister. But without a doubt, like I said in the very start of the episode, if there was a reason our new release was made this week, it is for the surprise success of the TV spinoff Cobra Kai, reigniting the fan base in a huge way. I'll be honest. When the internet was losing its mind over this show, I rolled my eyes back so far I nearly lost consciousness. Who gives a damn? Who cares? But now seeing the original, I do think the idea of like a villain show is kind of that's kind of a fun idea. I don't know.
It's up your alley. That's for sure.
I guess so. Really, I cannot overstate that. Just like when I
did not care about that.
But also why? It's not even starring anyone that you care about in the story. Karate Kid Legends is, once again, a coming-of-age legacy sequel this time that reimagines the same martial arts and new high school plot beats for probably the third or even the fourth time by this point. Walking into this, I was real cynical. I thought that this would be trying to do the Top Gun Maverick arc and be overly sentimental for its own material. You know, let's shed some tears for Miyagi. Let's maybe shed some tears for Jackie Chan, you know, who knows. But actually, it felt much closer to what they did with the Creed movies, where it is a slight remix, an updated version of the original, with returning cast members being mentors to the new generation, if you will. In hindsight, I feel like this makes a lot of sense, both as like kind of a project idea, but also how the movie came out. Considering the first Karate Kid, once again, was pitched as a kid-friendly Rocky movie, having this be kind of more of a remix with mostly the same plot beats really does feel like Creed in that sense. They're trying to update it rather than just remake it. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan, is reintroduced as the Chinese kung fu master whose style inspired Miyagi's family to create their own martial arts style in Okinawa. Our Karate Kid Lee, played by newcomer Ben Wang, is transplanted from Beijing to New York and meets a girl named Mia to start showing him around the Big Apple. His interest in fighting is held back by a promise to his mother, but quickly he finds he can't keep himself away from what he loves, even if it has some, he has some own insecurities to get over. Training Mia's former boxer dad turns into training again for himself. And what do you know, out of the corner of his eye is the Five Boroughs Fight Tournament that looks to be an easy sweep for his top bully at school. Mr. Han comes back in time to push him for the tournament and recruits an old and, I'm going to be real harsh here, a completely unnecessary friend to evolve his style for the competition, but more importantly, have him overcome his fears of consequences for his fighting. I got to start with some negative again.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this one's also getting a lot more hate online, so I don't feel as bad. I hate to say it, but I feel like this was an okay to even like pretty decent movie. Unfortunately, sunk a good bit by feeling like a corporate product from Sony. Folks, let me restate it from previous episodes. You won't find bigger Sony fanboys than Tom and me.
Yeah, you especially.
Yeah. I mean, really, love everything else but their movies. But you got to trust me when I say their movies have just an edgelessness to them that not only makes them feel forgettable, but feel like they were made pessimistically. I could easily point towards the slew of Sony Marvel movies, but I think a closer example of this type of pessimism is actually in the revitalized Ghostbuster movies. That it's just like, you remember Afterlife of how just like
they had,
man, just like needless nostalgia, needless callbacks. It just feels like it's almost preying upon the fans of the series.
I feel the same way. I feel Sony's movies and Sony's cell phones, I feel the exact same about.
Yeah. Maybe their laptops, too.
I see what they're going for.
Yeah.
In a way, it can be cool. It's usually not, and no one ever talks about them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's always something lacking or lesser than.
Yeah.
And when you have so much money and big Sony...
Sure. Music, easy soundtracks,
It's just for decades. You just expect more from them when it comes to their films.
For real.
Honestly.
For real. I feel like it's always, this feeling. It's always in the soundtrack. It's definitely in the dialogue. And it's just in that soullessness of the whole thing by the end. It's a shame because our director, Jonathan Entwistle, I think that's how it's pronounced. Entwistle. How, he's done some teen-centric projects that had some life in them. Look to his 2 Netflix series as evidence of this, but here it's all smoothed out. This was like so inoffensive.
Yeah, I bet.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Disingenuous, I mean? Yeah, there was something to it there. And if anything, it made me appreciate the original more, for what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. Despite most of the plot points feeling identical to the first movie, though, this becomes a total inverse of what I thought it worked originally in that first movie. And thankfully, the biggest highlight is the fighting itself. The fight choreography was easily the best part of this, showcasing a variety of martial arts styles, with our kid, the Karate Kid, being the standout. This was a huge win for this movie.
Okay, so Ben Wang had the chops.
Yeah, he did have the chops. Lee, as a character, is a master in his own right by the time he gets to New York. So This gives him, the character, valid reasons to fight in the story, gives us natural points in the story where he wants to fight something or he wants to get into a little bit of a brawl. And Ben Wang, playing Lee, kicks some ass in this. Not only do we have the rival bully and tournament plot beats, but this whole second act is taken over by him training his crush's dad to help him get back in fighting condition. And I feel like the movie does hit a certain stride at that point. It's about the fights. We get a lot of fights. And I don't know. That's where I mean, like, it's a total inverse of what I expected to like and not like in this franchise.
Yeah. One thing I like is that they're two different movies completely then. Because you had to take it to Ralph Macchio's whole thing was like he's a nobody and he's got to come into somebody. I like that idea that you're taking someone who's already really good.
Yeah.
And Jackie Chan is just there to make him better, make him the best, not just really good.
Yeah,
that can hit. And so the speed was there, the connecting seemed good, the fight choreography was all right.
Absolutely. I mean, I expected Jackie Chan to be the standout here, but I'll say even this, and maybe I'll save my praise for Jackie when we would do like some sort of special on him.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's got some heavy stunt double work. I mean, the dude's like 90 something right now.
Nope, definitely not.
No,
definitely not 90 something. He was born in 54, so he's 70.
Okay, not 90.
71.
All right, I'm sure fact check that or threw 90 at him. But it was just a real pleasant surprise to see the Karate Kid be the highlight in the Karate movie. You know what I mean? I think that's a very underplayed win of this movie, in terms of what people are kind of criticizing it
also
for.
Didn't think it was what it was going to be about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For real. This does bring me, though, to the most frustrating part of this movie, which is the inclusion of Ralph Macchio in the story. Sorry, Ralph. I know we were off to such a great start.
Yeah, this is going to bum me out here, Ben.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, I have not watched Cobra Kai, so I don't know where this character what he's been up to, where he's at in the lore, if you will. But it feels like a huge missed opportunity, like the biggest missed opportunity to not make his character Mia's dad and just have him own the pizza shop in New York. Like I said already, the more excuses to have Lee fight, the better. So I really didn't have a problem with him training and bonding with his crush's dad halfway through. I mean, it's the whole second act that he's basically the master for his crush's dad.
Wait. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know how I just got confused with the plot of the film.
Sure.
Ralph Macchio is training...
No, Ralph Macchio's not in it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan's
training Lee. Lee comes to from Beijing to New York.
Yes.
Crushes on Mia. Her dad's a boxer. He's got some money troubles. He wants to train up for a boxing match. Guess what? Lee, the kid, is now his sensei. So second act is like all this fun of just like, all right, so he's a master
everyone's
in
a
himself.
Sensei. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Macchio comes and everyone's a sensei.
Right.
Okay.
So we have this father figure set up. We have Mr. Han as a father figure. We have also Lee's brother, which is kind of an off-screen in flashback father figure. But by the time Jackie goes to recruit Ralph, there are no joke like 4 father figures in the story. And you could have just solved this by making Ralph Macchio the dad in the second act.
You're so right.
You had the perfect setup for a real nice, neat sequel. Lee comes to New York, meets his crush. Guess what? He starts teaching Macchio some kung fu. Macchio teaches him some Miyagi bullshit, like, wax on, wax off.
Yep.
And guess what? Now when Jackie comes to the States, you have 2 influences in his life that actually mean something. Instead, you have 4 father influences in his life that mean, like, nothing altogether. Like, it's really just, like, so messy.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Just a total, again, like...
You're right. There's something better there.
Missed opportunity.
Which is crazy.
And a real easy choice, You
almost want to see Macchio in that role, too.
Absolutely.
Be the father to this girl.
Yeah. Instead, Macchio is shoehorned into this story in one of the most meaningless ways imaginable. And it's exactly what I would point to when I say these movies use elements like nostalgia pessimistically. He's such like a last minute, it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife, some of the last minute throw in.
Weak tea.
Yeah, weak tea. You know what I mean there? Like, it's like there's something really, not dynamite, but almost like a no-brainer.
It's like sitting right in front of you.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's a little disrespectful to Machio.
I think so. I think it's
know?
disrespectful to the kid. He's got 4 fathers. He doesn't know what to do. Where this movie does land as a slight recommend for me, though, is not at all how it's tied into the larger series. Instead, it's exactly how I pitched it. A Creed-style spin-off that hopefully will gain confidence to do its own thing stylistically if we get another sequel. For now, we're going to go ahead and give Karate Kid Legends a 51.
Okay. That's not a great score.
Yeah, maybe saying love was the biggest plot twist.
I think maybe you love the fact that you didn't absolutely hate it.
Yes.
Because let's be honest, we were going and mocking this film.
Yes, absolutely. The trailer was real bad.
It was doomed. I was definitely thinking sub 50.
Yeah.
Easy, sub even 40 or something like that.
Yeah. But I think that's where I was and I had a lot to write on this. There was potential here. I think there was enough to live up to the legacy, just a lot of stumbles and a lot of Sony style stumbles.
If they are trying to turn this into a new trilogy, okay?
Which I don't know.
I bet it all comes down to money.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Mission and Lilo still beat it out at the box office. I thought this was going to edge out Mission just because you have a new kids film in there.
Sure.
But basically, let's say they make this into a trilogy, and next movie Jackie Chan dies, and now Machio becomes the main head sensei.
Yep.
Now we're dealing with something. Now we have something. It's like, okay, we brought him back kind of in the first one,
right?
And then we have something here.
Or even to my thoughts on the Creed trilogy. Hopefully, it gets to the point that Ben Wang could kind of just do his own thing. He's not going to be Directing like Michael B. Jordan does. But hopefully, I think what held some of the Creed movies back is just the ghost of Rocky Past, and we definitely talked about that on the episode.
Yeah.
Here, don't let the ghost of Karate Kid Past haunt this. If it goes on to
Does
do more.
Ben Wang have the juice of Michael B. Jordan? No.
I don't know.
We'll see.
That's maybe where my comparison falls apart.
Okay. Well, you answered my question of who were we watching this for?
Yeah.
I feel like it's either Jackie Chan, Ralph Macchio, or this kid, Ben Wang. And you're saying Ben, I think.
I would say Ben. Absolutely.
Was it good to see Jackie again?
It was. If anything, I was real disappointed that he had some stunt doubles because you can tell the choreography, the silly. We haven't really touched on Jackie Chan in a major way on the podcast.
Yeah,
but
at all, actually, I think.
A totally different realm of fight choreography and one of a kind, honestly. And his kind of silly, Jackie Chan-ness, it's in here.
It's in here, yeah. That's the thing with Jackie Chan. I would love to go back and watch something. Well, we got Rush Hours, which we love. It's just a special place in my heart, at least.
Sure.
It's Shanghai Nights and Shanghai Noon.
All
the classics.
None of his actual Chinese movies.
Alrighty, folks, let's go ahead and thank our producer here, get into the producer segment of the show, because we did have somebody come in and produce for this episode. So we want to give a big shout out and a big thanks to Tyrone McCoy for once again coming in, sending us $40 in, Vin, through PayPal. Thank you so much, Tyrone. You're an executive producer of 189, and he just posited a little question. So Tyrone said, is Neon becoming the new A24? Which
is something I feel like I'm definitely, I agree with, for sure.
This has been on my mind.
Yeah, really?
And it's kind of, I was thinking about bringing it up sometime or something like that, and I just hadn't. And the fact that Tyrone actually wrote something about it is hilarious.
It's read your mind.
But I kind of, I don't know, when we first started this podcast, I had no love or care for Neon, kind of at all.
Sure.
And then I started doing more and more research, and it wasn't until even this cons where there was some really positive articles about Neon.
Yes.
I didn't know this, but the past 6 winners at Cannes Film Festival, they get who wins the Palme d'Or.
Sure.
Like the panel votes.
Sure.
Neon has scooped up the past 6 of them for U.S. distribution. That goes all the way back to Parasite.
Really? Oh,
yes.
I didn't even, wow. That's a Neon as well.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So they can see, because I don't think it wins and then they scoop it up. I think within the 2 weeks or when there's rumblings, you have to be really quick. Those studios have to come in and buy them up real quick.
Sure.
So I think it's before they even win that they just sense something. They see something.
Wow.
They gobble it up for U.S. release, and they've won. Those past 6 movies have won.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
Absolutely. I like Neon because I feel like Neon I started appreciating just tied into Cronenberg.
Where were they born from? Strictly shit horror?
Know. I definitely saw them in A24's realm of just horror primarily, or thriller even primarily.
Okay.
I feel like in the head-to-head, and especially A24 this year, with a lot of stumbles, unfortunately.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
I
All
feel
right.
like-
I kind of have a different opinion about A24
Really?
this year. Yeah.
I just think like Death of Unicorn, Opus.
See, Opus was one they picked up at Sundance last minute.
Sure. It's not like their baby project.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? A24 is making more than they ever have, so they're going to have more misses.
Very true.
I'm really looking forward to the Rock one at
Yep.
the end of the year. Personally, I think that's actually going to be pretty good.
Okay.
And I guess I'm on a high still from Legend of Ochi, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Legend of Ochi was real good. that captured some classic, why we love A24. But yeah, definitely. I mean, whether it's underdog or even to your point of just like kind of like a secret hit maker, really do love Neon. So
That's good. I think we should keep an eye out
Yeah.
because if their funding keeps going, because they kind of are getting these decent films,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have an A24 competitor in that space almost.
Yeah.
A24 is a major player now.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
still just the way they diversify their money. They still are pretty low budget movies as they tick up slowly. But if Neon becomes a direct competitor, we're just getting like really top tier indie films getting hit at us. I love that.
Yeah,
I always just kind of shit on them because I thought they were schlock horror people.
Sure. Right.
But what am I thinking of? Like, what is the
maybe-
who makes Mithrigan?
Oh, that's still Blumhouse. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah, you're thinking of Blumhouse. Yeah. But Neon, I don't know. Two things that stand out from the last couple of years of the podcast for Neon is Eileen.
Okay, yeah.
That was that like weird noir thriller. Going back to first year of the podcast, Crimes of the Future. These are like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, you love that
like, these are wild movies.
They do take care of you when it comes to Cronenberg.
Yeah. So I think that's where I keep an eye out for Neon. But certainly, I think Sean Baker, really great example with Honora. That's huge.
Yeah, right, 'cause they
Parasite,
picked
that's
up-
a huge example.
It's not bad ones.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. Well, there. I guess that answers your question, Tyrone. But thank you for donating in $40 again.
Somewhere on the website there is a head-to-head there. You can probably compare the scores of like if you want to see what.
Well, A24 comes out with a lot.
Yeah, true.
And A24, you can smell it on them. You walk into the theater and it's just like, oh, this is A24 film. Okay. Tyrone, you are executive producer of 189. Thank you so much, man, for donating into the show. Folks at home, if you're wondering what's going on, or if you've been a listener for a while, then you know what the deal is. The Daily Ratings is listener-supported. We are producer-supported. Anytime anybody donates into the show or for the show, you are an actual legitimate producer of the Daily Ratings. Because just like in Hollywood, when you financially support a project, you're a producer of the project. So we want to hear what you have to say. You can write in a note along with your donation. You can write it in a little PayPal box, or you can email us. Our email is tom.vin@thedailyratings.com. And write a producer note in. That could be questions, comments, critiques, start a conversation, add to a conversation, hate on us, love us, whatever. If you're a producer, we want to hear what you have to say. We want to bring you into the conversation. Vin and I aren't going to have any advertising, whether that be a bunch of ad breaks on the podcast or a bunch of just absolute crowded ads on our site. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do Patreon either, where you have to give money to get more content. Everything that Vin and I do, it's all out there for free. So it's only a movie podcast. It's a movie site. I know it's not all important to everybody's lives, but do you enjoy kind of hanging out once a week? Or you find yourself using the site? Do you come to us when you want to know if a movie is worth a watch or not? We look at that as value in your pocket. Can you send us value back in our pocket? It's the value for value model. And it means the world to us. Are you listening every week? Is $5 a year something that you can do? A cup of coffee a year? Even if it is $5 or $50 or $500, any amount, you can peg your own value to what you're getting here. So that's how we're doing it. You can go to thedailyratings.com, head to the donations tab, and it's all right there for you. We have some fun set donations. You can go through Venmo. You can go through PayPal, credit or debit. You can even do Satoshis if you're into podcasting 2.0 and about Bitcoin. We have a lot of different ways to donate for everybody who's interested. Again, it's thedailyratings.com. Head to the donations tab if you want to be an executive producer for next week's show, episode 190. And then we're going to be 10 away from the 200th bin. We're doing okay.
We're doing all right.
We're doing all right. I looked at the movies that are coming out that week.
Oh, okay.
For our 200th episode. Yeah. It's the second in the lesbian trilogy of Ethan Coen. So we're going to have a lot of fun, or we're going to do something special. I don't know.
Interesting.
Something to think about. That's
something
all.
to think about.
We have a 10 weeks left. So.
I love that. That's unofficial. The lesbian trilogy.
Yeah, I didn't make that up.
That's what they're saying.
Yes. I've been saying that for weeks. It's not because I'm just like, oh, here we go, the lesbian trilogy. It is. It's like an unconnected but connected thing that him and his wife are doing.
Didn't we do No Country for what? That was 150 or was that 100?
I think we just did it to do it. It's because of the first. It's because Drive Away Dolls, the first in the lesbian trilogy, came out.
Yeah.
And I think we did a Coen's.
Yeah, we did the Coen study.
Coen study.
Yep.
And I think we were in a Coen mood.
Yeah, I think that also, unfortunately, kind of empties the tank on doing another Coen episode. I mean...
Well, we covered them good. That's okay.
Yeah. There's definitely some stragglers, but...
No Country. I think we also wanted to test that. It was our first time doing that kind of special, too.
Sure.
So that's why we did it for that. Good episode, though. Okay, but all right. So, Tyrone, thank you so much. Executive producer, we thank you. Then let's move on to our last film here. So... we have a director duo from Australia, two brothers. We have Danny Filippo and Michael Filippo.
Yep.
They've made one film that was on our radar called Talk to Me that came out 2 years ago and was kind of, I don't want to say lightning in a bottle, but it turned some heads, both for you and critics alike.
Absolutely.
Actually, we're really impressed by these brothers. They have a $15 million budget on this one. More than what they're used to, still super small.
Yeah.
It's called Bring Her Back. Let's just get into it. What is this horror film about?
Well, from Australian YouTube sensations to some of the most exciting new voices in horror, the Filippo brothers bring us their second movie with Bring Her Back. I wonder really how long they're going to be able to keep up these three-word names. Yeah, talk to me, bring her back. We'll see how. I mean, that'd be cool if they keep up with it, but I'm, of course, rooting for any new director on the scene, but even not knowing shit about them, this movie had one of the best trailers of the last year and looked to be actually scary for once. And what do you know? Goddamn, this movie had me closing my eyes more than a few times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I got to be careful because there's a lot that's probably like the best the first time you see it, not knocking it down like a repeat watch or anything
you
like
probably
that,
need to be a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a
10,000
short
foot view on this one.
Yeah, but there's a lot of moments where I was just like,
because of gore, or like actually you're kind of getting freaked out.
A little bit of both. They kind of know how to twist the knife, so to speak.
Okay.
There's something there to it, but I didn't have the chance to listen back to my old review on Talk to Me, but the brothers' youthful energy stands out to me as their early trademark, if it's coming about, making believable young characters on screen. That same energy is a strength for our two lead characters in Bring Her Back, but sometimes can be a stumble in moments that this movie was at its scariest. I feel like they did occasionally, for style, for fun even, for brevity, let their foot off the gas a little bit at some points. But for the most part, this is like right in line with Talk to Me as far as quality goes, as far as originality goes.
Good.
And absolutely another hit for the Filippo brothers. Bring Her Back is a ritual horror mystery swirling with the grieving and grasping at reason that we are left with when our loved ones pass away. After the sudden death of their single father, two siblings are thrusted into the foster system, terrified by the unknowns and disoriented by the sudden shift with no time left to reflect. We follow the troublesome teenage boy named Andy and his mostly blind adopted sister named Piper. The two are very protective of each other, even before this incident, but rightfully so, and Andy has a lot to do with that because of the responsibilities on his shoulders for caring for his sister's disability. They are taken in by an overbearing, more than a little kooky, and sometimes reckless foster mother named Laura, suspiciously no stranger to the ins and outs of the foster system, and already providing a home for another disturbed boy. She herself is grieving as well from a daughter that drowned to death a few years ago, and so the three of them share some common ground in what is the hardest moments of their lives. Laura begins to reveal her attachment to Piper in telling and disturbing ways, however, and just how you would do anything to speak to your loved ones again, she might be willing to do more than anyone would suspect. I mean, really, if the divide between Karate Kid and Bring Her Back is not illustrated by those two descriptions. Like the two
they're both kids' movies.
Right. movies.
That was a good description, Vin. That's a good catch-up.
Thank you. I mean this as a total compliment. But this felt like the most f***ed up chapter of like a series of unfortunate events or something. Like the foster home system turned into a horror was like electric.
Yeah.
Really great. The film crafts this foster home setting and experience as deeply unnerving, but always in a very realistic way. Seeing the situation through a child's eyes helps us immerse the viewer in something that might not be considered horror, but is all the more scary because of how control is taken away from our characters' hands as children. Probably say it when we cover some real heavy hitter horrors on the site, but like taking control away, that is the key to why horror is horror. You don't want agency in the characters. You want to put them in the haunted house. You want to lock them in, and this understands that at a fundamental level. These siblings, this sibling angle, I should say, felt extremely well written for the same exact reason, because Andy and Piper have only had each other to rely on. They have a safe word. They say grapefruit to force each one another to tell the truth. I love this as a little plot beat in the story because it's probably and possibly a result of Andy lying about what he sees, only because he's trying to protect Piper being blind from ugly parts of the world. No less their new foster mother. But the match of horror and story really hits a sweet spot in this way, because for our characters as children, in the context of them being children, this is possibly the scariest outcome they could imagine. More scary than a horror movie. Being thrusted into the foster home system. So when many red flags of the story creep in, sure, we as the audience spot it because we know we're watching a horror movie, but these elements for our characters are blended flawlessly into a whirlwind that they're going through in life. Some really, really well tight stuff, tight knit, really good.
At an hour and 44, it's kind of a lot that this film needs to set up.
Yeah.
You need to get used to your characters. I'm sure. So the mom, Laura, is played by Sally Hawkins.
Yes.
And I'm assuming we have to go through time of, she seems normal. She seems a little weird. To now we have to get into the horror.
Luckily,
we got to move on this.
Yeah, it's a little bit more streamlined. Right from the get-go, we're already kind of seeing red flags. But like our characters are experiencing, not that they're even familiar with the foster system, but it's kind of like, I expected this. This is part of being thrown into a new family. You might get, not a weirdo, but, certainly a kooky person.
And Sally Hawkins, I don't think this is true, but I've been enjoying all week just thinking how Sally Hawkins backed out of the third Paddington film to be in this, to play a psychopathic mother.
Yeah, really twisted.
They totally recast her in Paddington in Peru.
Yeah.
Where she played was for the first two movies, just like the sweetest mother role.
Especially that first one.
Sweetest mother.
Yeah. Like an absolute doll. And then she's on pills on the second one, and then she's a little spacey. And then now in this, we know where she went now. But I would say center to all this insanity is Sally Hawkins.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about a crazy performance for her. She was something else in this. I feel like we've gotten a lot of hammy horror performances in the last few years. For some reason, I really think The Heretic with Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
Definitely Trap with Josh Hartnett, really blown up horror performances, character horror performances. But Sally is able to take it to a whole nother level, especially when it comes to the emotion needed for this story. This is not just ham. She's got the skills to pay the bills. And if anything is grabbing from the side of her career that is kind of around the Oscar baity type of movies that she's in. I'd really love to talk more about how her character unravels, but the exact horror elements are a little hard to discuss without spoilers. I actually cut a whole section where I detailed the clues of her characters a lot more, but I want to hold back because the mystery, it might be even a little predictable as you're watching it, but I would say the mystery is satisfying as you're putting it together. And I felt this character and her motivations, that was the most satisfying part of this movie, of just wow, I'm seeing it all fall into place.
Right, yeah.
And I just haven't had experienced that in a while, just really being satisfied with a horror in that way. So what I'll end with instead is something I hope the Philippo brothers stick with across their new projects. An interesting quality. that I've seen between Talk to Me and now this movie is them introducing their own mythos or rules to the world that is often tied to the central piece in the horror itself. In Talk to Me, it's that mysterious hand artifact that becomes like a twisted party drug. And now in Bring Her Back, we have a mysterious videotape that we're only given slight glimpses at, and really, even by the end, relatively no clue as to its origins. I think this is fantastic, specifically because these key plot devices are the strangest part to the mystery and disturbingly beyond explanation. And in a lot of ways, it feels like our directors are grabbing the best elements of internet-based horror, kind of internet folk horror, anything from creepypastas or whatever, and sprinkling them throughout their movies, which personally I can't wait to see what they'll pull from next. We're going to go ahead and give Bring Her Back a 76.
Okay, 76% for our best horror, I think, of the year so far.
I think so.
Not that we have had heavy hitters, but we have Companion and a couple others that we covered. Actually, it's less so far than what we got last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And you know what I'm going to say. I mean, this year's been a pretty stinker, relatively.
We're getting there, though.
I know. You're always... the movies are kicked off. I know.
I've been saying it for 3 months.
Yeah.
A 76% for Bring Her Back. Definitely for an audience of some people. I bet if I watched this, I would have a lot of respect for it.
Sure.
Like, I probably would enjoy it not being so cookie cutter.
Yep.
And the fact that when 80 horrors a year come out, that... You know, these guys are there's still things that haven't been shown before or something like that. There's some originality, which is very cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're like, what, 32 or something like that? 34, these guys?
Yeah, they have a whole YouTube career before branching out into this.
Racka
yes,
was the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I can't say. I mean, I'm not really on Australian YouTube.
It's the most Australian thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, for real. That's what I mean, where it's like, it's interesting that I feel, I see slight sprinkles of like, internet folky horror, which they experimented with on their YouTube channel. Again, I'm willing to subscribe, but like they've experimented with like telling creepy stories and shit like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of like part of their content. That's kind of interesting that's making its way and really finding a place in their movies as probably the most interesting quality of both of these movies.
And it's not the only thing going on with them. So it's the same guy who did Skinamarink.
Oh, really?
And what was his name? I forget what his name is, but he was a YouTube guy, I think, and he started making...
that's right.
He was making YouTube horror kind of shorts based on people's nightmares that they would write in about, and then he would make them into YouTube videos. But then, you know, he was given a budget. I don't think he's done anything after Skinamarink, as far as film-wise.
I don't think so, too. Yeah.
But anyway, it's...
Same concept, though.
If
Absolutely.
horror's going to survive, I kind of like YouTube as a testing ground.
Sure, I like that, and I just really appreciate that they're kind of making their own rules, like literally in the universes of the film, and I feel like that is so much more original, even if it is ultimately pulling from some kind of source online or a story they heard or whatever. Yeah. But having that be an element in all of these movies so far. I mean, just the two, but
it's a cool vibe.
Yeah,
something a little different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that's 76 for Bring Her Back by the Filippo brothers. It's a wide release, so if you're into something spooky, go and check it out. It is available probably close to you. So, all right, Vin. Looking at these movies, anything else you want to touch on? Talk about next week? Anything? Roll credits? What do you want to do?
The rest of the Karate Kids? No. Next week we got Ballerina. Listen, you're talking to two of the biggest John Wick fans here. We're both not excited for Ballerina. So
yeah. Can I just say though, I am somewhat curious just to see what they're going to do. The movie has been shit on.
Yep.
Okay, it just has been.
Okay.
People have been talking about it for 2 years.
It's true. It's been a little bit of limbo.
And then we had to find out that they done reshoots, bring Chad Stahelski a little bit. They filmed a lot of extra scenes with Keanu Reeves, meaning we're going to get a lot more Keanu. That's not a bad thing.
I don't think so.
So expectations low, and I'm purposely keeping them low. And I told you before we started talking about it, I do feel an obligation to see this. Just being a fan of the John Wick thing, wanted to be supportive of just like the whole John Wick stuff.
Yep.
So I just, in a way, there's almost nowhere to go but up.
Okay, I like that.
You know?
I think nowhere to go but down for me, just because, you know, John Wick 4, it's such a nice capstone to everything. I understand that this is like a prequel. You know, this is before what's going on.
Right. That's why.
In that, so it's just kind of like, all right, you know. But listen, we're going to see it regardless.
And if you're mad at the bow of John Wick 4, I mean, John Wick 5 is happening. So
yeah, true, exactly.
So the Band-Aid has been ripped.
Right. Like I said, nowhere but down. We got The Phoenician Scheme from Wes Anderson. Very excited to see Benicio del Toro. It looks real cool in it. I think the third new slot is going to be The Ritual. It's a horror film with Pacino. I'm probably only seeing it with Pacino.
And another big actor. Who was he acting alongside? I forget. Yeah. It's Pacino and somebody. Like, that's who's in The Ritual.
This was also a movie that was supposed to release earlier, maybe even not like a dumpy worry, but earlier in the year, and then got pushed. This is just, not unfortunately, but oddly been on my radar.
Really?
Just has something with Pacino in it, I guess, is my interest.
Okay.
But...
Oh. Okay, there's not another big actor in it. It's Al Pacino, but Patricia Heaton, Deborah from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Deborah! Wow.
Oh, man, Al Pacino. Deborah!
Greatest!
Okay, Vin, thank you so much for checking out these films here this week. And folks at home, we'll run this down one more time. We've got The Karate Kid from 84 with a 64%. Then we have Karate Kid Legends with a 51%. And Bring Her Back with a 76%. Folks, it's always a great time hanging out every single week. We'll see you next Tuesday for the new show. And as always, we'll see you a week from now for another episode of the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. Just a reminder that Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.